Hello, this is John again, and this week's video is about dryers. In particular, I'm going to be explaining about my Samsung dryer. I think it's one of the best dryer designs out there. And actually it copies off another design that was pioneered by an American company, if I'm not mistaken, which I'm going to reveal that here in a little bit, which I think is the pioneer in dryer designs, to be honest with you. Well, let's begin to discuss. This is my Samsung dryer. The model number is DV5451AEW, I believe it is. DV5451AEW. What I've done right now is removed the front of the dryer off. It's very easy to remove on this dryer, and you can get to pretty much everything. This particular piece right here is called the bulkhead. What the bulkhead does is actually hold the rotating drum in place. You know, keeps it from falling out and whatnot. And then we have here is a lint filter. What we have here is the holder that the air is drawn through the lint filter, which it actually goes through this vent right here. You see the moisture sensor right here, and then goes through this vent. It goes down to the fan. Then it comes around and goes out the exhaust, just right there. And then, you know, there's nothing really much to this dryer. It's pretty simple. So let me basically explain a couple of dryer designs out there before I kind of get in depth on the Samsung dryer. The reason why I wanted to explain dryers is I feel this is probably one of the best designs out there for dryers. And then what I'll do is explain some of the parts about this dryer. Right now I'm using my Craftsman LED flashlight. So let's go ahead and explain that real quick so I'm not drawing too much time. The first dryer design is actually shared with a little bit of variation between GE and, well, the current GE and the little bit older generation Frigidaire. And their Frigidaire changed their dryer design to something similar to this one. I'll explain that here in a little bit. But anyway, let's cover those two. Now, the older Frigidaires and the current GE right now, how their dryer design works is your rotating drum and the back of the dryer, this back part right here, they both rotate together. Alright, so the back part of those two dryers, they actually rotate on a single axis on the back. And basically what on the GE, it's a shaft with a plastic retainer that it rides. So it's a metal shaft that rides inside a plastic retainer that it rides on, sort of like a metal bearing. Sort of like a plastic metal bearing, but anyway, and that's what the GEs rotate on. And on the front here, where the bulkhead would be on a GE dryer, they ride on two plastic guides, one up here, one over here, and they ride on that. On a Frigidaire, it's somewhat similar as well. In fact, the Frigidaire does ride, it's fixed in the back, so when the drum rotates, the back rotates as well on the older Frigidaires, and they ride on sort of a it almost looks like a metal ball bearing on the back of it. Well, it looks like not really metal ball bearing, but sort of like a metal point. And that metal point slips into a plastic sleeve. And that plastic sleeve does tend to wear out at times. On the GE, the plastic guide would wear out and would cause the drum to shake back and forth. It's not a very good design. I've had the chance to take both of them apart before, and they're not really all that good at design, to be honest with you. I know GE dryers have gotten cheaper over the years. They're starting to get better in the quality. It's only been the past year that GE is starting to come back in the quality. Frigidaire, I'm still not quite sure about. But anyway, so you got those two designs there. The other design is Whirlpool, and Whirlpool has three different designs in the dryer lineups. The first one is, a lot of people know this Whirlpool design. It's been around since, man, the 70s. And that would be the top lint filter design. So the lint filter, instead of being down here within the door, inside the dryer, the lint filter is actually located on the top of the dryer, somewhere over here in this area. Where this is blank, there would be a lint filter pull-out tray there. So, and how that works is that one side would be a lint filter area as far as be holes for the lint filter, and then on the other side, where on my dryer it's blank, that would be holes for the heat, for the heating element, or if you have a gas dryer, for the heat exchanger. So that would be the old Whirlpool design. I'm not too favorable with that design. Now, that old Whirlpool design does use drum rollers, and what I mean by rollers is, it's going to be hard to catch it on camera, but one of my rollers, as you can see by this bolt, is right here. There's another one in the back. You probably can't see it, but it's back there. You might be able to see. No, you can't really see that one over there. It's kind of buried. But anyway, there's rollers. There's actually 4 in this dryer. On those particular dryers, I think they might use rollers on the front and on the back. I'm not sure. I'll double check. And actually, no, they don't. I'm sorry. On those old Lint Filter, top-mounted Lint Filter dryers, they only use 2 rollers in the back, and the front has glide, sort of like what's on the GE. So that's that design. It's a very simple design, but it's not very effective in drying clothes, because the clothes, the drying air kind of has to do like like this. It doesn't actually flow through the clothes coming at you. It doesn't do that. But anyway, so that's one design. The other design, which I think is one of the best designs, which is what Samsung and LG have copied off of, is the design of this particular dryer here. Now, before I get into that design, there's another design out there that Whirlpool instituted as well, and that's on their full-size Cabrio. The full-size Cabrio is actually kind of a bad design. And let me tell you the reasons why. On the full-size Cabrio, which I've had the pleasure of working on, and maybe many of you have the pleasure of working on those dryers as well, they actually use a twin belt system. Most dryers employ one belt. And the one belt, as you can see right there, drives the drum, okay? Driven off the motor, which the motor is behind this blower housing. Okay, so the one belt drives the motor, and on the other side of the motor is a fan, which I didn't take this off for you, but there's a fan right there, okay? On the on the Whirlpool design, on the full-size Cabrio design, they use a twin belt system. So basically what it is on on the motor does drive the belt, but on the other side of the motor, there is another pulley for another belt that drives the fan, which is actually sitting underneath the drum. It's not sitting on the side, it's sitting underneath. And many times, if you ever see one apart, many times that belt comes off, it breaks. People have had problems with belts staying on those with that twin belt system. It's just a horrible design. The belt's all like twisted every which way to try and get it on that pulley. It's just a horrible design of a dryer, I think. But anyway, the best design is the mid-size Cabrio. You know, that's made it to the 4.3, or now it's actually a 3.6 cubic foot. But it's a mid-size. Many times you'll see those dryers doors come down. They call it the hamper style door for Whirlpool. But anyway, that is the best design, and it's basically how it works is you have the heating element and the heat exchanger right here. Out in the open, it's nice and easy to get to. If I wanted to, I really don't have to take the bulkhead off of this dryer in order to change out these heating elements right there. The one screw holds it in. There's 2 more screws down here that hold the whole assembly in. Take off a couple wires, and I bet you I can get this whole heat exchanger out, just like right out from here. So that's the best design, and I think Whirlpool started the design. Kind of Samsung copied it, and so did LG. LG uses something similar. In fact, GE's coming out with a new washer dryer setup, and their new dryer is going to this design as well. So that's pretty cool. Especially some GE fans out there, they're starting to step it up with the quality. So anyway, it's this design, and then what happens is as this drum rotates this way, the clothes tumble, fall down, and air blows through those tumbling clothes through and down into the lint filter. Okay, the air gets drawn in through this box here, into this mailbox, through the fan, comes out and goes down, and finally goes out through that exhaust pipe right there. If you can see through my camera and through the right there. This wire here is for the moisture sensor. Now the moisture sensor actually senses how much moisture is in the clothes and dictates the drying time. You know, more moisture, more drying time, less moisture in the clothes, less drying time. It's pretty accurate, and it helps to save on energy as well. You know, there's no electric dryer out there that's really high efficiency, but this is about as close as you're going to get. Make sure if you're buying a dryer, make sure it has a moisture sensor, because that actually dictates how much moisture is in the clothes and how much drying time it's needed for to dry those clothes properly. And usually if you do it on track, usually the moisture sensor will dry the clothes just right, not over dry them or not under dry them. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a kind of an insight. This one is a steam generated Samsung, so it does have a a spray nozzle in there to spray in wetness, and what it does when the heat comes on, it creates wetness and steam, and that helps to release wrinkles, freshen clothes, those things. Anyway, this is my Samsung dryer, kind of a tutorial and kind of an intro about dryers, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye.